Hi, I'm Wayne Madsen, and you're listening to the Falcons Nest podcast.
I'm Lewis Rees, and you're listening to Falcons Nest podcast.
I'm Anuj Dal, and you're listening to the Falcons Nest podcast.
Well, welcome back to the Falcons Nest podcast. I'm at the stunning Queen's Park and joined by Chesterfield chairman Nigel Mallender. Nigel, how are you?
I'm good, Henry. How's yourself?
I'm very well. We just love being here, is what I think, just to sum it up very succinctly and sharpishly, it's the best week of the year for the Derbyshire staff. Players love it here, and obviously you and the team love it here, and it always delivers. The weather always delivers. The cricket, although results sometimes don't go Derbyshire's way, the cricket is always a spectacle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, firstly, what I would say is that we love having you here. Absolutely love it. You know, we look forward to it all the way through the year. It feels like we get it done and dusted, and everyone's sort of licking their lips and rubbing their hands together, ready for the next one. You know, it's a massive effort from the club. Clearly, we've got volunteers that take holidays, unpaid leave from work. You know, they put in the kids with the babysitters and all that kind of thing, but ultimately it's worth it. You know, you look around here and, as you said, it's just a stunning place to be, and makes me very proud as chairman. It really does. Proud of the team, proud of the venue, and, you know, proud of the spectacle that we put on.
The crowds always flock in. First day there were thousands of people here. Yesterday you'd maybe say it was a bit too hot. It was sweltering on day two. We're here on day three, and it's still a very healthy crowd, but it's just uniqueness. People come back year on year, whether you're from Derby and make the trip up or further afar. Loads of Lancashire fans, previous years been lots of Yorkshire fans, but it's just pleasing to see that how well loved this ground is, and just kind of this week of the year where we play in the Chesterfield Festival.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot what you say there that I can sort of come back on. I think the first thing that I always go back to, I vividly remember last year and this year actually as well, but there was a group of Gloucestershire fans. There was a group of Gloucestershire fans who paused there as we thought we were going to get a wicket on their board, but last year this group was, I think they come up from Bristol, and I like to do a bit of a walk around the ground before play every single day. And they were down towards the lake end as I'm sort of signalling with my hand at the moment. And I walked past, they had all the Gloucester shirts on, and I just said, look, what are you here for? You know, it's Yorkshire, Derbyshire as it was last year. And they said, because it's the finest ground in the country, and we love coming here. We have a couple of 3 days up here most years, and we absolutely love it. And I haven't noticed them this year, but I did notice a group of Leicestershire fans yesterday who said exactly the same thing. So it's clearly got that draw outside of Chesterfield and Derbyshire. But people look forward to it. You know, there's so many people that will come here for the festival, for the 4-day game, for the T20 on Sunday, that won't venture down to Derby, and that's nothing against Derby, but I do think it's because of the draw of this place, because it's an out ground, because it's got a few quirks about it, because it's got the beautiful scenery, and you know, all the sights and the sounds and just everything associated with this week, I just think is incredibly special, and long may it continue.
Yeah, it is, like you said, stunning that you go from the big test venues are big bowls. Derby is built up with stands, and here it's chairs, bring a picnic rug in a park with a lake. I mean, it doesn't really get much better.
And Puffin Billy going round there, yeah.
I mean, Puffin Billy, it does sometimes seem that he's rubbing it in that when a wicket falls and it's too
yeah, I agree.
If I was a batter walking off there, I'd be absolutely livid, but it is just so special.
Yeah. No, we're really lucky, and I get asked the question so often, Henry. You know, people say, you're chairman, Nigel, what on earth do you get out of it? You know, because it is hard work. I do term it a labour of love, because that's very much what it is. At times it seems relentless, and you don't get, you know, a moment's peace. And, you know, there might be other chairmen listening to this from other clubs in the league, and I would not dream of putting those clubs down at all, because being chair of any organisation is a lot of hard work. But I think that the only similarity that you have here, being chairman of Chesterfield, is potentially Derby. Obviously you guys have got it, a lot more than 1 week of the year. But it's probably why myself and Ryan Duckett get on so well, because I can relate to some of the pain that he has, and I only get it for 1 week a year. But no, look, we're very, very lucky here, and I just think that we just want to continue. And if anything, Henry, we'd like to put more cricket on. I think that people listening to this podcast will think, well, what's there to do? You put a few fences up, you put some chairs out, but you and I both know that there's an awful lot more to it than that. It's not just a simple fact of scheduling the fixture in the calendar and then putting a game on here. There's an incredible amount of work that goes on, primarily through yourselves and Chesterfield Cricket Club, obviously Chesterfield Borough Council as well. So busy times.
Yeah. Like you said, it is hard work, but so rewarding this week. Just to see the smiles on the faces of people who've been supporting county cricket or Derbyshire for many, many years. There's been quite a lot of children mulling around, kind of enjoying the cricket and having an ice cream in the sun. It's kind of just what cricket was about, and kind of how people or ourselves kind of got into it. But like you said, very hard work. It's not. I mean, at Derby, we can almost roll in and everything's there, the processes are there. It's everything from the chairs, the toilets, that kind of organise all of that and then getting it working. And you've got people like Jimmy Anderson here, who's played all over the world.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
And having him here, his first time ever in Chesterfield, trying to make it as professional as possible in those places.
Yeah.
But it is, like you said, loads of work. And very pleasing that we could get more cricket in this year with Derbyshire Falcons women starting the festival and the Blazing as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jimmy Anderson there. Who would have thought that? England's leading Test wicket taker. The best, greatest fast bowler that's England's ever produced, statistically anyway. Opening the bowling here at Queen's Park, Chesterfield, against Derbyshire. What a fabulous, fabulous event. And that in itself, pulled people in. But I think that also sort of leans on what I would say next, and that is the greats that have played in this ground over the years. There's some unbelievable cricketers, all the great names from Derbyshire. But what I did do over the winter is I commissioned David Griffin, who all the listeners to this will know a lot about. But for David to put together the data of all the visiting players, first-class players here over the years, professional cricketers who've scored 100 here, taken 5 wickets or 10 wickets in a match. And we've actually got those on honours boards now on the away stairwell, which you'll have seen on the way up. And the names on that board, Henry, I just think it's just phenomenal. And it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end when you think that out there in the middle you've had Gary Sobers, Bumble, Jeff Boycott, modern day greats like Sachin Tendulkar, Brian Lara, Adam Gilchrist, Matty Hayden, all getting hundreds here or 5 wickets. And that's before you think about, the Kim Barnetts, the Michael Holdings, the Chris Adams of this world. This is a really, really special place, and it's why so many people just keep coming back time and time and time again. And to see the ground full on Sunday will be fantastic. I know you're looking forward to that, and I certainly am as well. We just need the weather to be kind to us.
Yeah, like you said, there's been some absolute greats, and Jimmy Anderson is one of those players that people will come and flock to watch, and it's been very special watching him just ply his trade, and a great challenge, I guess, and occasion for just watching Mitch Wagstaff bat now, for him to be playing against Jimmy, and for the spectators to enjoy kind of that battle of that next generation against a guy who is synonymous with red ball cricket in this country. It's just fantastic that you can, in your boots, say that I'm the chairman of this club that is providing this.
And you're absolutely right. I think I started to answer your point earlier and went down a different path, but that's what keeps me going with it. The labour of love is there for all to see, but what keeps me going is when you see on a Wednesday night, Chesterfield Cricket Club, our junior nights, we've got 100 kids around the ground of various different age groups. And a couple of weeks ago, we had Samit Patel and Zach Chappell that came up and did some coaching with our kids. Well, they were hanging on their every word, you know, and they were looking up to them. And goodness me, we've got these two amazing professional cricketers. And no disrespect to Zach and Samit, who've had fabulous careers and are, you know, wonderful cricketers in their own right. But here we have, you know, the greatest ever fast bowler that England's produced, and here he is opening the bowling at Queen's Park, and you've got kids all around the ground that are here to see him play. And you know, you'll have seen it yourself out the back of the pavilion at the end of every day's play. You've got dozens of kids, older fellas that are there waiting to get his autograph and a picture with him, and it's just wonderful to see. And yeah, I am very proud. I'm very, very proud of the club. Very, very proud of what we're doing here with the community in terms of growing the junior section, growing our women's and girls section. The senior teams are doing great, but you can't do all of that without having a healthy off-field team, and we're very, very lucky that we've got so many wonderful people that put so many hours into doing the catering here at the festival, doing the bar, doing the tea bar, walking around selling raffle tickets, which makes a massive difference to a club like ours in being able to put events on like this. And that's the shot in the arm that I need to keep going.
That's kind of a bit of what I was going to come on to, of Derbyshire County Cricket Club deal with Chesterfield Cricket Club in this festival week, but what does this week mean for Chesterfield as the club side, as the junior side, as the women's side? What does it mean for the club?
Oh, I mean, it's a great question. Absolutely a great question. I think first of all, it's the stature. It's the stature. It's probably the first point that I would make actually is that Chesterfield Cricket Club, I think there was always a bit of a misconception for many years that because of the stature, because we've got this first class ground and this amazing setting and the old pavilion there and what have you, that people potentially thought that they needed to be could only play here through invitation, and that's never been the case. Never ever been the case here. We've got people that play here from all walks of life, and I think that that's, you know, for the juniors, that's a huge attraction. That, you know, they've come here this week and they see professional cricketers out there playing cricket and doing all the, you know, all the things that you and I see week after week in the field with the backing up, you know, the throwing in on the bounce, there's just all the professional bits, the nuances that you only see when you're actually in the ground. And we've got juniors here that are watching it, wanting to emulate those people. So it's absolutely fabulous. What does it mean to the club? It means everything to us. It means absolutely everything to us. We're very, very proud to host first class cricket here in Chesterfield. Delighted to actually get you guys down up here every year. We see it as a team effort. We see this very much as a partnership. We'd like to host more if we can get this infrastructure down to a click of the fingers, Henry. I think we possibly might be able to do it. But it's great for the wider community as well. You know, you know how close we are to the town. You've got people coming over the bridge. You know, on Sunday we're going to have a lot of fans coming down from Sheffield, walking through town, coming over the bridge, spending the money in the town. So the economics of it for Chesterfield and for the community is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I could wax lyrical on that one forever.
I'm Anuj Dal, and you're listening to the Falcons Nest podcast. The Falcons are back this summer, and you can secure tickets at derbyshire.ccc.com.
It is a brilliant week. I arrived on Monday and jumped in a taxi, and the taxi driver immediately was, I hadn't said anything, and she was like, "Are you going to the cricket?" And it's kind of that this week it takes over the town, and people are coming to Chesterfield for the cricket. It's a stunning place, under the crooked spire that kind of just peeks through. The trees I'm hoping they don't grow much more, because otherwise you're not going to be able to see it.
I agree.
But yeah, Chesterfield, it's been a great venue for hosting players, but kind of produced some Derbyshire players over the years. Ben Slater, Ross Whiteley, Martin Anderson is contracted as a pro. He's probably not played as much as you would have liked him to.
You're right,
But it's been a real kind of thriving place, and like you said, for juniors to be able to see Ben Slater, Ross Whiteley, who've had great careers, come play on this ground either for or against Derbyshire, and be able to go, that's who I want to be like, and then see other players who have made brilliant careers play here. It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and you know, you've hit upon some great names there. Current greats as far as Chesterfield Cricket Club are concerned. Ben Slater is you know, he's a Chesterfield lad through and through. Not just a Chesterfield Football Club fan, but he always plays for us whenever his county commitments permit. And you know, just having him walk into the pavilion and into the dressing room, the lads just take an awful lot from that. You know, you can see that they raise the game accordingly as well. But what I would say is that he is one of the lads. You know, it's his team, they're his mates. He loves coming back and playing for us whenever he can, and he makes a massive difference on and off the field, and it lifts our profile. But you've again mentioned other names there. You mentioned Ross Whiteley. Ben came through our juniors, Ross came through our juniors, Ian Blackwell, who went on to play for England as well, of course, he came through our juniors. And then going back a little bit further, Jeff Miller's another name that's synonymous with Chesterfield Cricket Club. Whilst he didn't start here, I think he started at Cutthorpe up the road from us, but FC Jim Brailsford, who was chairman of Derbyshire, and he was a 50-year member here, president, chairman, first team captain. Jim got Jeff to come along to the club, and you know, he's a name that's been, as I say, synonymous with Chesterfield Cricket Club. And a bit of a story behind that. You'll have been in the pavilion and seen a lot of the work that we put in there with the honours boards and carpet and the furniture and so on. Got some great shirts up on the wall of some of the names that I mentioned a moment ago, but we didn't have anything of Jeff other than the odd team photo here and there. And I spoke to Jeff a couple of years ago when we were having a cup of tea and a sandwich in a cafe, and I said we need to rectify that. We've had some greats that have played here over the years, Henry, and I'm a big believer in providing them with the recognition that their achievements deserve. And I said to Jeff, will you go away and get us a shirt of some sort? And he rang me up a few weeks later and he said, I've not been able to find a shirt. I said, Jeff, don't worry, it's not a problem, absolutely fine. He went, no. He went, will my England blazer and cap do?
Oh my word.
So we were absolutely delighted, and so in the bar now we've got that as a centrepiece with a couple of action shots from his Test debut and a famous win in Melbourne in the Ashes, I think 82, 83, if my memory serves me right. So it's important, really, really important, and you guys at Derby should do a great job of marking the greats down at Derby as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's had loads of history over the year. Like you said, we would like to play more games here and go back to the 80s, 90s where outgrounds were played on a lot more and the greats, and we're trying to make more memories each year. I think the memories probably, in recent memory for Derbyshire perspective, the T20's been something of a phenomenon. 7 wins in a row over Yorkshire. You read social media comments of Yorkshire fans going, why do we have to play at Chesterfield again? Sorry to break it to you, we can choose where we play, and when you've got a winning streak like that, you wouldn't change it for the world.
No.
Last couple of years have been some kind of, you're almost looking at going, this can't be real, it can't be happening again. And it is. Alex Thompson last year, 1 over just changes the game, and you're sitting going, this surely can't be right. But that T20 is massive.
Yeah.
The crowd's huge. It is a bear pit atmosphere at times because we're sat and we're no more than 10 feet away from the rope, and you've got 4,000, 5,000 people in here. Depending whether you're a Yorkshire supporter or a Derbyshire supporter, people are getting a bit of comments on the boundary from people who've enjoyed having a couple of drinks during the day.
Oh,
but
very much so.
That day, not just commercially for Chesterfield and Derbyshire, is just a brilliant occasion because having crowds like that in a unique setting is just quite special. Again, I keep saying special. It's the only word I can really describe. Kind of how a tranquil, serene park on a Sunday in July just becomes carnage.
And this is, again, loads of good points there. Yeah, it's a fixture that everybody looks forward to, isn't it? It really is. You know, it's a 5,000 sellout. I think as we speak, is probably 100 tickets left, and they will sell before Sunday. I'm absolutely sure of that. It's a great location, Chesterfield, because you've got, you know, the guys that come down from Yorkshire, South Yorkshire. It's almost a home game for them. So you get a good mix of a crowd, but it's just a fabulous occasion. And it's not just the people in the ground, it really helps to put the town, the club, the ground on the map, but also does a lot for Derbyshire's reputation at the same time. I often hear people saying that, oh, nobody follows county cricket. I think that's a lot of rubbish, to be honest. You know, you only have to look at the stats. If you bother to look at the stats and you see the online streams and the people that are viewing those and listening to the broadcasts, the downside to county cricket is that because it is a long game, not everybody can get to the ground. You're working, I work for a living as well, and what you can't do is you just can't take days off at the drop of a hat. You do often find yourself having an earpiece in and you're listening to the radio. But it's a popular sport, and I think it's growing and growing and growing. And the reason why I like the T20 so much as well is it actually just, I think, reassures and reaffirms everybody's thoughts that county cricket is alive and kicking. It's not just about the franchise cricket. People have an affinity with their county. Derbyshire fans are desperate for Derbyshire to do well. Derbyshire fans are desperate to beat Yorkshire at that T20. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I would not bet against Derbyshire winning again on Sunday. That yes, a record has to come to an end at some stage.
Just hope it's not this year.
But it is Fortress Queen's Park. Yes. It is iconic Queen's Park, and I've just got a funny feeling it's going to happen again. I do.
You look at the past couple of games, and you're looking at Matt Critchley in that game, and you think, no way, this is one and win. Lewis Deploy's had some moments where you think this game's gone, and he's sending it over to the bank on the far side of the ground. 2 years ago, 2023, Brooke Guest and Lewis again smashing it all over. I think 31 off the last over. Alex Thompson last year. There are so many incredible moments that have happened here. Like you said, records unfortunately may have to come to an end. We just hope it never does. And some people may say, oh, well, the crowd's only coming because they know that they're going to see a Derbyshire win. But there are loads of people, like you said, coming down from Yorkshire supporters. I don't think it really matters what the result is, years on years and years. People come back because it is a brilliant game. It's on a Sunday. You know it's going to be good weather. You know what you're getting with Chesterfield, yeah. And it always delivers.
It's not a bad place to be on an afternoon, is it? It's really not. No, you can come down here, you can bring your deck chairs down as we're sat talking, looking over on the grass bank there. Lots of people have brought their deck chairs, and on Sunday they'll be sat there with their families, their mates, having a pint of beer or a glass of wine, listening to the music, the razzmatazz, seeing the big hits. It's the best game in the world. I love my other sports, but cricket, you just can't beat it. You can't beat it. So I think we're in for a special one on Sunday. We just need that weather to be good, Henry, and just to stay clear of rain and that kind of thing. And then I think we'll be in for a treat. Some big names coming down from Yorkshire, and there's some good players in the Derbyshire team. I think they'll just. It's probably surprised. Like you just said before, there's always one or two people that put their hand up and surprise you, like Tomo last year and Lewis and Matt Critchley before that. So. Let's wait and see. See who the hero's going to be this year.
Well, it's always a pleasure to speak to you. Like you said, no better place to be than at Queen's Park, and hopefully bigger and better next year. We'll be having another conversation, hopefully about another T20 victory, and see where this first-class game goes right now as well.
Yeah, it'll be quite an interesting one with the first class, won't it? If Derbyshire go up, who knows who'll be here next year? Yeah. We'll wait and see, but no, thanks Henry, anytime. Enjoyed it.
Cheers.